By the time you get the loan done, you could be 10% underwater on the home before you ever move into it. Because the home is worth less than what you paid for it. Before, it's like the car. You take the car out of the showroom, you lose like $5,000 off the cost of the car. When you take the ownership of the home, which is actually, it's just a key, it's all it is. I was one of those people. I actually I've got the note to my house, folks, so, which is a real fun thing. But I've had it for years. But it was actually paid my own life. I paid cash for mine. But all you get is a key. When you walk in the front door, they give you the key, and here's the key to your house, and here's your payment thing. That's buying a home. And they said, well, but I didn't buy this home from you. And they said, well, we own the paper on your house. And I said, what do you mean you own the paper on the house? Well, we bought it on the secondary market. And then you get another thing a month later saying, well, the payments have been changed over to this. And then a year later,
but you know what, I'm always curious is how do you know that they actually have, the other company has the paper? Because most people, it's like, oh, it comes in the mail and says, we bought the paper on your paperwork for such and such.
Most people don't, other than the fact that...
it could be false.
No,
it could be a scam.
Most of it comes from the organization that basically you've been making the payments to tell you that your note has been sold to such and such. I mean, I can tell you that, well, for instance, we knew a guy, there was a guy in Beverly Hills that basically was pissed off at his neighbors. He went over backwards to work on his mansion. The workers didn't come in till 10 and they left at 3, which meant he was losing money every day. But because he didn't want to be a bad neighbor, so neighbors threw fits. So he went and bought the note and everybody told him to throw them out. And then incorporated their property onto his. But that's how it works. You can be tossed out. The guys that buy the paper, in a lot of cases, can give you a 30-day notice to get the hell out of their houses. What's going to happen is, the guy, once again, is my magazine, is substituting, actually whatever, I don't know who she is, but she's substituting for my title. What's going to happen is, the person that has the title, he's going to walk into the homes, and when they feel that the Obama has been properly punished, they'll walk into the homes and say, get the hell out of my home. And they'll say, well, you can't do that. And they said, I have a title and I have a United States Deputy Marshal out here. And says, get out of this home unless you pay me all the money you owe me in 30 days. They can't go to court. There's no rebuttal in court. They don't have the paper. The person with the paper, they can just toss your butt out if you don't make it. And they don't make arrangements for you to pay it. If they do a 30-day call on you, you come up with the money or you're gone. And since you've made a fuss, you can't make the payments to begin with. The government's not going to side on your side because they made a disaster of it. You're going to be out on the streets if they really get mean and nasty after this election, and they could. I mean, when you got the president on, personally telling people, we need to put a stop to this because it's not good for the economy. He's pleading with people to stop what he started. It's just like the other day I was watching a movie, they're honoring Tony Curtis's death, and his car got bumped into and it started going down the hill. And once it started down the hill, no matter what he tried, he couldn't stop it. It was going over the rocks, it was going over, he'd throw a log underneath and went over the top of it. Once it starts downhill, you can't stop it rolling. He started a ball rolling downhill. You can't stop it now. He's screwed. And the whole, because the people that basically are paying their stuff, like, it could get to the point of, why the hell should I pay it when Obama's going to give these people their homes for nothing? So, because the guy that has the paper can throw you out of your house. That's why.
Just like that.
They got to understand, folks. The guy that got the paper can toss you out. He can call it 30-day on you. That's in the real fine print that when you sign a little document that said you've read it. Nobody ever reads those things.
So, do you think that the administration really had no clue of the repercussions, or they
didn't know? No, they had no clue. There's no one in the Obama administration that basically has ever. There's no bankers working. There are pencil pushers that basically were executives over at Goldman Sachs. There are pencil pushers here and there. All they did, they went to college. We had a guy, the cars art, never a driver's license, never worked.
He never even had a driver's license?
No, he wrote a book on the auto industry, was an expert. They got a guy that Obama wants to put in his head, I think Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac that won the Nobel Prize in economics has never worked in the field. He did a theory about how to solve the economic problems in the world.
Ooh.
Well, basically, you can guess how that theory is. You know how you solve it. Government stimulus will solve all the problems.
Well, you know, see, part of it is usually these people. I mean, I remember in college they always said that there's the professors that are actually in the industry. No, the other teachers are just theory.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing because they do these things in a vacuum and don't take into consideration all these other things. Because part of it is there's humans.
Yeah. No.
Or if they take into consideration, they forget what humans do.
Well, I mean, I had when I went to film school, I actually had only one teacher for 3 years that actually ever worked on a film. One.
Are you serious?
One. The others were all book people. I mean, one guy did get fired for breaking a $75,000 camera. He went to work for about 10 minutes and then broke the camera, and they got rid of it. Never worked again.
Yeah.
These were the professors teaching is the fact that people that ever worked in the industry. But I mean, the people that actually work. I mean, for instance, he worked on the 10 Commandments. Charlton Heston had a nasty habit of wearing his wristwatch when he was rehearsing.
Mm-hmm.
When he took the wristwatch off, guess what? He had a suntan mark around his wrist. So they had to basically, because the pencil pushers never noticed it. He spotted it right off the bat, and basically had somebody double tape his cloth up to his hand so that when he did this, if you look at a movie, a lot of times he'll raise up, and this thing, his robe doesn't move because it's there, and they don't pay any attention. They're not film people.
Mm-hmm.
Script writers are not film people. They write words on a thing and don't have a clue. You can't do this in a feature film. And I watched a thing, Texas, the other day, by James Michener. You couldn't transcribe that thing. It was like Gone with the Wind, except twice as long. And they put it into a 3-hour thing, and basically it was so convoluted, it was horrible.
Well, and you see things like that all the time. Well, yeah. I'm thinking film, because there's people that are not in the industry or they're not paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Which is what's happening with the Obama administration. Because like film is like one of the reasons LA has been popular is there was consistent weather.
Yeah.
Right? Now we have inconsistent weather, which is driving a lot of people crazy.
Oh, you can't have partial day shooting. It just doesn't work. I mean, we spent more yesterday time out than we would normally, because we actually had sun and we knew it was going to go again. But this is it. You have people that don't understand, well, pencil pusher. Well, so what? It's California. Go out and shoot.
No, the position of the sun changes throughout the day.
That's right.
Which means your shadows may not match up, or they could be totally different.
Yeah, that's what, I guess, Francois Truffaut was famous for shooting. He'd go, basically when it was day for night. Mm-hmm. Because he would just shadow everything, so he basically do it optically, so everything was dark. Mm-hmm. So no matter what he did, everything always matched up because he did it optically. American filmmakers would throw tons of light, tons of reflectors. We saw people last night. Actually, we saw people at the beach yesterday basically standing around doing nothing because of the fact that they're waiting for the sun to be in the same position it was the last time they were shooting.
Which is one of the reasons that sound stages are so popular. That's
right. Location work isn't as good a time as you might think it might. It might be cheaper, but it costs you more time and effort because you cannot shoot. Okay, I was in an episode of Bonanza with actor Gerald Moore. Gerald Moore basically got tripped off because he basically paid a photographer to put him in a picture of everybody at a party while he was killing somebody else. They basically put his picture in. What tripped him off was the sun he was at and where they were at, and it was a different time of the day. It shows up on film, but the people that know it shows up just sit there with their feet up on tables. They sit there and eat and drink and just wait for that moment when the sun is exactly where it was, the shadows were exactly where they were. Then they run out and they shoot. And then, because they got all the rest of the day, because the sun's always going to be in that position from such a point on. But if you're shooting in the morning, you got to shoot in the morning all the time. If you start in the afternoon, you got to do it in the afternoon. Evening is basically a gimme because it's all dark anyway. But if you're doing that, but these people know. The Obama people couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, because that's where experience comes into play.
That's right. Obama basically had no experience. The guy was a community organizer. He knows, basically, he was a union lawyer. If you look at what he's doing, everything is built around the unions, public, working, and organizing the minorities to come out. This is what he's doing as president.
So part of it is even though he's trying to undo it, right?
You can't undo it. Once you start, it's the law of unintended consequences.
I mean, it's like that drilling moratorium, which they're...
They just lifted it because they did so much damage. They said basically we were starting to pump. We're getting on the verge. We were going to pump more oil than we were buying. Obama stopped it.
Right. So now a lot of those companies that were there have already left.
Well, they said only 4 of them have left.
Oh.
Well, there were only 6
to start with.
Yeah, they cost 25,000 jobs. Well, they said there was an insignificant amount of jobs lost, and then one guy whose company lost 5,000 jobs. 5,000 people is insignificant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see, part of it is in a way, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what's going to happen with the foreclosures.
Yeah. They're going to lose more than that. I mean,
which is why they're sitting there saying it's going to affect them and be, what, through 2012?
Through 2012, the legal, they call it the $1 trillion gaffe by the Obama administration. $1 trillion. Well, maybe $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. Soon it's going to end up to real money. I can remember when it was millions. Now it's trillions.
Yeah, but see, part of it is, okay, so there's certain things that you can control, other things that you can't. Okay, the government has already done that. You're in your home, or you're trying to buy a home.
Okay, here's the problem. It's just because of the problem is the home that you have bought is now going to be under siege by the people that lost their homes. So they can serve you papers to get out of their house.
If you bought a new house.
Mm-hmm. If you bought a house that was a foreclosed thing, foreclosures, they said foreclosures are on to 43% of the market.
Ooh.
And it even amounts to more than that.
So when does that go back to since Obama has been president, probably?
Yeah, well, okay. You know, I won't get off the topic, but do you want to go back to those days when unemployment was only 5.6%? Do you want to go back to those days when gasoline was $1 a gallon cheaper? Do you want to go back to those days when you could make the payments on your house? When you could take your children out to McDonald's and eat whenever you wanted? Do you want to go back to the days when you actually could afford health care? Do you want to go back to those days when we didn't owe trillions of dollars?
And most people would say, yes!
I know. See, that's what they're laughing at Obama at the moment. Do you want to go back to that time before I had to do all of this to save you? It's like, you know, well, I had to hit you in the head with the life preserver and drown you in order to save your life.
And there's some of you that are saying, no, Obama didn't do all this. Well, when Obama did take office, there was a first stimulus already. But what had happened was 2 years prior,
no,
the Congress
there was the bank bailout.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the bank bailout, which was a mistake. Everybody, even Stuart Varney, who approved of it, said it was in hindsight, it was one of the most stupid things I ever did in my life. I thought it was important. You know.
Well, that's because they told them it was important.
They told everybody it was important. George Bush made an ungodly error. Republicans went along with it because they thought they were doing the right thing. But when it didn't work the first time, what type of moron would do something? Okay, it's just like this mother's brother. Remember Tommy's mother saying, you know, that, we walked off the bridge twice for CBS, and brother Dickie, would you do it again? Oh God, no.
Well, why don't you ask Olympia Snow how many times she walked the plank?
Olympia Snow and Susan Collins, basically, here the President of the United States, the Republicans won't do this. Well, Olympia Snow and Susan Collins will virtually approve any spending bill Obama wants. So, I mean, he gets all these spending things through.
So there are people that will continually walk the plank.
There are, but they're, well, when you're old, when you're old and you're not healthy, you really don't care anymore. This is why they're scared of what's going to happen. November the 6th is when Congress comes back. That they've got no reason, if you've lost your seat, you might as well just destroy the country. We already know the woman in Alaska who basically got kicked out. We got Bennett that got kicked out. We got 3 Republicans that are going to side with the Democrats on every spending issue they got. Democrats that are going to lose their seats are going to be they're going to lose 6 to 9 seats to the Republicans. They're going to be pissed off. You're going to basically, the Democrats will be able to push anything they want through Congress for 2 months. Anything, and the Republicans can't stop them. If they want to destroy the nation, if Obama wants to basically...